Friends, good morning. It's Thursday, November 6th. Man, oh man, I am so excited that I'm so happy that Robinhood came out with great quarterlies here. So, talk about Sofi, talk about Robinhood. I think, obviously these are two stocks that we've been tracking here. I think a lot of us for years, months, how long you've been here with these two. But, I think these are definitely, Cain and Abel kind of situation. Maybe not so much. I'm using a lot of Bible references lately. I don't know why. But how I look at these two right now, definitely just two butting head stocks where, I think they're huge competition for each other in the future. Okay. So with that, they're both doing different things. They're both doing, one of them's doing really strong over here while the other one's doing really strong over here. This one wants to be strong over there, but this one's strong over. So it's kind of that thing right now, but still nonetheless, they're both doing beautiful, and that is the main thing that we care about as investors. So let's go right into Robinhood, obviously, because they just came out with quarterlies, and this is something that is just something to celebrate 100%. So I do think that these are big buys and big holds right here. I think that even buying these stocks right now, from what we can tell, especially SoFi being so cheap at this point, I'll get to that here, but there is a long lifespan here with these companies and where they're going, that this will be a beautiful marriage for people. If you're here with these and you're buying into them actively, still weekly, daily, wherever you're at with them, they're going to serve you well into the future. No doubt about that whatsoever. So Hood here, Robinhood, released quarterlies after hours here on November 5th, Wednesday, yesterday. They were great. And if you know me, I've been talking about Hood here where I've been a little concerned that, I was like, they have got to come out with something good here. They have got to come out with a really good quarterly, and thank God they did. So they came out with this quarterly that was 1.17B, okay? Well over $1 billion there. So that is fantastic. Now with that, one reason why I was, and a lot of that too, if you're wondering, a lot of that came from the crypto. They did a phenomenal amount of trading with crypto on Robinhood app, obviously. So they made a lot of money off that, the trading fees in that. So that's a huge thing. And I think there's a lot of people that, I know there is, because I've seen in comments where people are wanting Robinhood to focus more on the banking side of things, and two, they are as well. But nonetheless, they're making money where they need to be making money. That is the main thing, that this company is making money, aggressive money, at such a new place right now where they're at. So this is phenomenal. Why I was having some concerns, not doubts, but concerns, is because the stock has ran so high here. And I was like, they have got to come out with a great quarterly, not a good, but a great quarterly, and thank God they did, for it to keep this share price where it's at, this momentum. So this is really, really, really encouraging for what we could be looking at for Q4, Q1 going into 2026. There is definitely a race right now with both these companies. Now, what is so interesting, and just kind of dip back and forth for a moment here, because I see this comment so much. People are like, why is SoFi so much cheaper compared to Robinhood? Why is Robinhood so expensive when SoFi is right at the tip of the edge of the iceberg, making almost what they make, and has essentially, there's an argument, a better, history of revenue, for people that like just a continuation of, great quarterlies. Someone, how I look at this, I have physically been here with both these stocks here for years now. SoFi, when it was $3-4 coming out of the, the world shut down, Robinhood coming to the market here where it ran up aggressively coming to market, then had a huge sell-off collapse where people were buying this like over $100 a share years ago, and then they sat in it for a long time. I know of someone personally that took a huge loss in this stock back in the day because they bought it at such a high rate, and then Robinhood was suffering there for a little bit. It was like, is this ever going to be anything more than what it is? Well, we're in this very beautiful stage of new revenue income for Robinhood now, so it's a great moment for investors that have been here for a moment and getting some of this money back, getting into some great position here. But you have Robinhood over here, who undoubtedly, obviously, their bread and butter is the trading app, taking fees off trades, stocks, crypto, puts, options, just the whole gambit over there. Okay, and obviously, too, they have credit card, they have that kind of stuff going on. But, too, Robinhood announced this year, they were like, hey, we are really wanting to push more, obviously, into a crypto banking aspect, but two, we're really wanting to push we want to become a bank. We really want to focus on that. That's kind of our next phase of where we're wanting to go. Okay, great. Well, two, with that, starting this year, we started at a little more of a higher aggression with price action with the stock price, because Q4 for 2024 was over $1 billion. Okay, well that got a lot of attention. Okay, so from that point, January until now, the stock has been pretty aggressive, and what we're seeing now is that this now is like, this is going to do something. This is going to obviously hold this position where we're at right now. But two, it's going to be interesting to see. This is turning into like a Palantir conversation now, where people are like, okay, like, can it go much higher? Is it going to go, higher than this? That's kind of the theme of the market right now, but that is turning into what this is going to be here with Robinhood. So you have Robinhood, who's doing phenomenal on this trading side. Public company, you can buy into it. They're doing great. They're Robinhood's bigger than ever for people that are, there was a moment there where like people were like, if you trade on Robinhood, you're not a real trader, stuff like, it's just insane stuff. Anytime people ask me, like, where should I've sent so many people to Robinhood, people that I run into or stuff like that, and they're like, I really want to get into trading, but I don't know, like, where should I start? Where should I, buy stocks? I always send people to Robinhood because why? It's super simple. It's cheap. They're not going to allow you to, you're not really going to get confused. I would never send anyone to like Webull. I think Webull's phenomenal, but I would never send anyone there. Robinhood still is a great, obviously they've done some stuff here. So for the person in there writing a hellacious comment right now, yes, they will stop some stuff. I do not agree with that, all that kind of stuff. But for business model wise, and being attainable and understandable to just a newer investor, it's a fantastic place to send people for them to learn. I mean, I started on Robinhood years ago. So it has a special place in my heart. But now that we're seeing this stock, this company bring in aggressive revenue, man, this is fantastic. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Robinhood maintains stock price wise. And obviously the market's down in the kicker right now a little bit. So, I do think that the market, like even the Tom Lee aspect here, where Tom Lee blatantly said he thinks the last 2 weeks in November here should start to tick up here with aggression back in the market here. So we could be another week out before the market starts to show a pulse again. But this is going to be very interesting for Robinhood, because obviously Robinhood's getting into some, it's getting into a lot of ETFs. Maybe, who knows, we could see some adoption into S&P, stuff like that. I think this is phenomenal. I mean, congratulations to people that have sat in this, that were in this. This is amazing. This is truly amazing. I definitely think that Robinhood is here to stay. For people that may have doubts about it, I don't think you should have doubts. We can definitely at this point, somewhere over the summer be talking about 1.5, 1.6 billion in quarterlies if they continue on this aggressive model. Now, obviously, they made a lot of money on crypto here. That was a big portion of that revenue coming in. And obviously, the past few months have been pretty hot in crypto land. So, that helped a lot. But still, crypto traders are always going to be there, crypto in general. But, it's still a very good sign of what we've seen here. It's showing that Robinhood is finding money. They're finding the money when they need it. And two, even if they didn't have that, it still would have been a pretty, that portion of the earnings there, it would have been a good good quarterly, but still, I mean, this was the one that, this sent them over the edge completely to where they needed to be. So this is fantastic. So SoFi is, the argument here with SoFi, it's trading around this $29-$31 range. I am 100% in belief that SoFi is about to have a Robinhood year here in 2026. I really feel like that. I have had this conversation, I cannot tell you how many times, with friends who are also in the market, people that are do much better than me in the market. I think a lot of us, and you even see it in the comments, I think a lot of people are in this mindset. We're kind of smelling what's up in the air here. We're seeing what's cooking in the oven. That SoFi is probably going to set off into a dominant year here in 2026. There's no doubt about that. They have all of the excuses they need to run. The last biggest excuse that SoFi needs here is for this Q4 that will be coming out, for them to hit the billion. And probably the great part about where they have landed at this $950 million quarterly that they just came out with here, is that what it's going to do, more than likely, it's going to put them in a Hail Mary situation when Q4 comes out here, that more than likely they'll be well over $1 billion. So it's so interesting. Look at this. Think about this. So what I just talked about with Robinhood here, okay? Now, this is the hopes and dreams. We're gossiping, we're whispering here to each other, but really think about this. So Q4 of 2024 for Robinhood, they came out with that huge quarterly, over $1 billion. Okay, that got a lot of people's attention, and from that moment, we just saw Robinhood stock go. I mean, just kept getting crazy, and they were saying things. They were, they got a great CEO. CEOs do a lot. SoFi has a great CEO. So SoFi here, this Q4 that will be coming out at the beginning of 2026 here to wrap up this year, that quarterly should be over $1 billion. So could we be seeing, and two, you got to think where Robinhood stock share price was at that time when it came with that $1 billion quarterly. Very similar situations going on right now. I'm excited. You should be excited. So SoFi could be in this position where they are coming out with another aggressive quarterly here, Q4. Okay. It could definitely, it's only going to take $50 million more dollars to make that happen. They have been well over $50 million for, aggressively on top of each quarterly. I mean, we're talking about $100 million at this point. They've been over top of each quarterly. So this is amazing what we're seeing here. This is really saying that, like, okay, we as investors, we're digging in here. We're looking to what could be. We're picking up breadcrumbs, and, SoFi here 100% could be in this place where, they just release a very aggressive quarterly to get things rolling here in 2026. Man, be excited. That should get you so excited, and it should get people to go like, okay, I am hunkering down. I am anchoring in here in SoFi. I think this is going to be the moment. This is going to be the year. This is what we need to look at right now. So, friends, listen, SoFi, I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting here waiting. I know I can smell it. I smell it coming out of the kitchen, out of the window, and it's cooking up something good here. It is going to hit like a freight train when it starts running here. It's that Q4. I know it's going to be that Q4 that's going to get things cooking here. Unless it's some big old deal, but more than likely it's that. So, yeah. Congratulations on Robinhood stock. That's amazing. That is pure awesomeness. And SoFi this is the year 2026. This is going to be an interesting year to see what this company does. I think they are going to shock a lot of bears out there. And I don't really know who's bearish on SoFi anymore. I will say that I've seen a lot of people get broke over SoFi, just like they've been broke over Palantir. So yeah, friends, take care of yourself. Best of luck today. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.